Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today, presented by the Allen Law Firm, and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvell. Coming to you from the Future Home Loan Studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grille, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. Presented by the Allen Law Firm.
And a very good morning here on a Monday. Terry Norvell coming to you from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are inside the Future Home Loans Studios, giving you a Monday edition of College Sports Today, presented by the Allen Law Firm. I want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. You'll hear from them as we go along today. We're calling a bit of an audible. The head ball coach, the traveling man, the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, will not be in today. He is caught up at an airport, traveling back from New York via Las Vegas. Coach Spurrier and his wife, his lovely wife, they have been on the road for a lot of stuff going on last week. Coach Spurrier, this time a week ago, took off and headed out to Las Vegas for the College Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The 2021 class went in, which included former Gator offensive lineman Lomas Brown. So Coach Spurrier was at that event. Of course, he's part of the College Football Hall of Fame as a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. That event was last Tuesday, and the big dinner and banquet and the induction. Then Coach Spurrier and his wife went straight from Vegas earlier last week to New York City for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday big Heisman Trophy ceremony and presentation and dinner and media swing. So Coach Spurrier very busy trying to get back, but having some airport issues, as we've all done before. So Coach Spurrier will be back here in studio with us on Friday. We'll also have Shane Matthews in, and we will make our Safe Harbor Seafood Bowl game picks, as we'll pick about 21 bowl games on Friday. So we hope to get, or we hope you join us again on Friday with the whole gang will be in here on College Sports Day. But we're glad you're with us here today. A lot to go over. Just kind of catching up, doing some housekeeping. Where are we? What happened last week? The Army-Navy game was tremendous. For only one real, I know there were some playoff games in the lower divisions, but boy, for only one real Division I game, Army-Navy once again lived up to its name. Real quick, though, wanted to get back to the Heisman ceremony. You probably watched over the weekend. Really anticlimactic. Bryce Young really controlled that thing a third of the way into the season. Bryce Young never had a bad game. I don't even know if he had a bad quarter. He was steady Eddie and really won that thing going away. But I thought it was awesome. Speaking of Coach Spurrier, there were, as I understand it, 14 former Heisman winners that went back. And it's normally more than that. I think the COVID and things like that kept the numbers down. But did you realize, I want to thank my buddy Freddie Weeby for pointing this out, of the 14 previous Heisman winners that were in New York City for the festivities Thursday, Friday, and, of course, Saturday, 3 were former Gators. Steve Spurrier, Danny Warfel, and Tim Tebow. 21% of the former Heisman Trophy winners that were on hand Saturday in New York City for the presentation were Florida Gators. Pretty impressive, and tip of the hat to those guys for all making it up there, led by the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Interesting, I thought that Aiden Hutchinson, nothing against Aiden Hutchinson, big-time player from Michigan, but my goodness, how in the world did he finish second? How was he the highest defensive player? How was Will Anderson not even in New York City? Goodness gracious, Will Anderson, have you seen his numbers? Tackles for loss, 32 or so, led the nation in sacks, just ungodly. It's ironic how it played out. Will Anderson might be the best player in the country. He had 2 things that worked really against him getting publicity, so he could have gotten there. Will Anderson should have been in New York for at least one of the 3 or 4 finalists. 2 things that killed Will Anderson. Number one, early in the year, and I'm not taking anything away from this player, but Jordan Davis got a lot of pub early. The big, fun, gregarious number 99, the 350-pound defensive tackle from Georgia, great player. Really good player, is going to be an NFL player. He started getting a lot of talk early in the first third to a quarter of the season. I think that hurt Will Anderson because any talk about a defensive player went straight to Jordan Davis early in the year. And number two, the other thing that hurt Will Anderson from Alabama was his teammate was Bryce Young. Anytime there was Heisman talk around the Alabama program and the Alabama team, people went straight to Bryce Young. But Will Anderson, I thought, should have been there. No knock on Aiden Hutchinson. And I was stunned that Hutchinson finished second. Interesting. Just interesting. But the Heisman Trophy is put behind us. Your final college football jobs have now been filled. Basically, I think they're all filled now. Miami, we talked about that Friday. Miami with Manny Diaz out, Mario Cristobal in. And now it's basically official. I think it'll be officially official today. Dan Lanning, the defensive coordinator from Georgia, 35-year-old hotshot, well-respected coach who's done great things at Georgia. Dan Lanning will be named, if he hasn't already, today at some point, named the official head football coach for the Oregon Ducks. So interesting movement there with finishing off the final college coaching jobs that are out there. Everything's pretty much filled now, unless I'm missing one. I think they're pretty much all filled. Coming up on Wednesday, early signing day. Again, real, not controversy, but early signing day. You get the feeling the powers that be are really going to re-examine early signing day. Number one, there should be, and there needs to be an early signing day. Early signing day is first and foremost for the student athlete. The theory of early signing day, and not just for football players, but the other sports that sign in December, but particularly for the football player, the concept of the early signing period is, wait a minute, these guys in many cases have been getting recruited for 2 and 3 years hardcore, certainly for 2 years. If these guys know where they want to go, these football players, let's give them an early signing period in December where they can go ahead and make it official, pen on paper, on national letter of intent, and that way the student athlete that knows where they're wanting to go, they don't have to wait another 8 weeks to sign in February. If they know where they want to go, get it out of the way, enjoy their holidays, no more phone calls, no more getting chased and pursued by college coaches. Sign, get it out of the way before the holidays. Sign, get it out of the way before the second semester of your senior year starts. You don't have to worry about January being hounded as you're just trying to start, thinking about finishing off your senior year. So there needs to be an early signing period. The problem is, where do you put it? Where do you put it? Because the early signing period popped up in 2017. It's generally that second or third Wednesday in December. The issue is programs that lose their head coach. Maybe that coach is fired. Maybe that coach leaves on his own volition for a different job or a different league. The issue with the early signing period is there's only about 17, 18, 19 days generally between the end of the regular season when most coaches are let go and or fired and signing day. So what do you do in terms of if you're one of those programs changing out head coaches? Do you just eat it and get crushed on signing day? Can you do anything in 18 days? That's the issue. That is the rub. Now, there's talk of moving the early signing period early in January. I don't love it for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're still not taking care of that student athlete that wants to get all this behind him or her before the Christmas holidays and before they start their final semester of high school. So moving it to early January, gosh, and frankly, that's only moving it up 4 weeks away from the February signing day. So, yeah, there's some real issues. It's going to be moved. Some people have suggested early signing day should be at the beginning of the season, late August, if they know where they want to go. The problem with that is how many kids would sign in August and then, oh boy, they don't see their coach having a terrible year and getting fired. So they would have signed and wanted to get out. So those are the big issues. By the way, and I'll get off this topic, for people that don't follow it, this is the 5th year of the early signing period. It is very needed because if you've tracked it, it started out year one, about 70% of the kids do sign early. And that has crept up to near 80%. I think it'll be about 80% when all the numbers are completed for this coming signing class. So that tells you that the student athlete wants an early signing period. Where do we put it, though? Tough call. We talked about the Heisman Trophy. In a little bit, we're going to take a break. I want to come back, and bowl season is right around the corner now. Bowl season is really different than it's ever been, particularly now with NIL. Players were already starting the new theme of opting out. I think the NIL is going to make this more prevalent, guys not finishing their bowl game. But I want to take a moment and look at the bowl games. We know the dates, the times, who's playing who now. What are the most, and I'll give you my opinion, and feel free on our Facebook Live comment section. We've got Andrew checking in. We've got Aaron checking in. Feel free to drop some of your thoughts. So I'm going to give you my most intriguing non-college football playoff bowl games. Not the two semifinals and the final. Of course, we know those are the intriguing ones. But which bowl games kind of tickle your fancy a little bit, provided enough people play. We'll do that in a little bit. And I want to, if we have time, talk a little bit about the Clemson Tigers. Boy, Clemson, which probably has been the closest program chasing Alabama, wouldn't you say, the last 7 or 8 years. Clemson has been the closest program to Alabama-esque. Boy, we're going to find out. Dabo and the boys are going to find out what an incredible job Nick Saban and that Alabama machine has done year after year, because have you seen what's going on with their coaching staff? We'll talk about that if we've got time on the other side. Some stuff on the table we'd love to hear from you. Want to get to Mike Leach if we've got time. Boy, he had some comments I totally disagreed with over the weekend. Army-Navy we touched on. Notre Dame. You talk about the biggest flag-carrying member of the we need 12 teams in the playoff club. Notre Dame's got to be carrying that banner from what happened to them this year. And I started peeking ahead. Notre Dame, they got a tough, you-know-what schedule next year. Notre Dame is sitting there thinking, man, this thing needs to get bumped up to 12 teams because they don't have a championship game and they have very little wiggle room. We'll talk about that if we have time as well. One segment down, a long way to go. We'll take a break. Feel free to comment on the Facebook comment section. I'll try and get to some of those and read. It's a Monday edition of College Sports Today. We're coming to you from the Future Home Loan Studios. Today's show and all shows presented by the Allen Law Firm.
Lawyers nowadays try to attract new clients by putting big numbers in front of them. I can do that too, but the only number that really matters to me is the one I get for you. I can't guarantee you any particular result because all cases are different. However, I can absolutely guarantee you that if I take your case, I will work personally with you to seek the best possible result because that's what really matters to you. At Allen Law Firm, clients and results are what we're all about. Call me anytime.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of College Sports Today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida. And of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar, Neptune Beach, the official seafood restaurants of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell can be found up and down the Northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood, Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood, Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar, Neptune Beach, the proud seafood sponsors of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development, go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again, shoot me, Terry Norvell, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Coach Spurrier will be back in studio on Friday for our next edition of College Sports Day. If you just tuned in, we just got going here, and Coach Spurrier, we thought was going to be in. He's been traveling last week, Las Vegas, straight to New York for the Heisman. Got caught up in airport travel, as we have all been there before. Coach will be back on Friday, along with we'll have Shane Matthews, and we will pick I think I've listed 21 bowl games. We'll pick out not every bowl game, but we'll pick about 21 bowl games and go ahead and give you our thoughts on those. That is Friday, coming up on the Friday edition of College Sports Today. Welcome back here to the program. I want to get a couple topics out here, and I want to take a look at what I think are some of the more intriguing bowl matchups outside of the college football playoffs. Certainly Michigan, Georgia, certainly Cincinnati, Alabama. We know that. But other than those, what are the more intriguing ones? I've listed 6 or 7. If you've got some thoughts, would love to hear from you on that. Getting back to Clemson real quick, it's going to be interesting. Clemson now, Dabo Swinney has to replace 2 coordinators, okay? His defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, the head coach now at Oklahoma. His offensive coordinator, Tony Elliott, head coach at Virginia. So he takes the Virginia job. So Dabo Swinney, Clemson, they've chased Alabama. Probably, wouldn't you say they're the closest to Alabama the last 10 years? I mean, Alabama's way away from everybody, but Clemson's got a couple wins. They've beaten Alabama. They've been pretty dominant. A little bit of a hiccup this year by Clemson standards, but it's going to be interesting now. Nick Saban and the Alabama machine, they have replaced coordinators and assistant coaches. They've been gutted at their coaching staff for good reasons. But boy, Nick Saban, the machine keeps rolling on. It's going to be interesting to see how Clemson and Dabo Swinney handle this. First time they've really been gutted by their coaching staff. And generally, I don't know this for a fact, but generally, when coaches from a staff get a head job, generally they take a couple guys with them from the existing staff. That's kind of understood. So you've got to wonder if Venables takes a coach or two, a buddy or two off the Clemson staff, and if Elliott takes 1 or 2 guys, Dabo Swinney now is looking at, replacing 4 or 5, maybe 6 guys off his staff. Be interesting to see how Clemson handles this and a situation that Alabama, Nick Saban, they've been handling for the better part of 10 years, and they've done it seamless, it seems like, every single year, they be in Alabama. Told you Mike Leach, I thought Leach overstepped his bounds a little bit. Over the weekend, Mike Leach really unloading on players that will skip. And there have been a lot that have already announced they're going to skip the bowl game. And for whatever reason, they're not going to finish off their season and play in their bowl game. I thought it was a little ironic. Mike Leach kind of lambasted the players that do that. And he gave examples, and he was pretty tough on his comments about that. Yet I didn't hear Mike Leach point out coaches can do that. Coaches take off. I didn't hear him lambaste his fellow coaches that take off and don't finish the season. And we can count off a bunch of them that weren't fired. Getting fired is one thing, and not finishing your bowl game or your season. But a lot of coaches, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, on and on and on, voluntarily give up. So, I thought Leach was a little, unless I missed him complaining about his colleagues that do it, thought Leach might have stepped out of bounds a little bit. I get his concept, but Mike, what about the coaches? And I don't know, Leach might have done it. I can't remember how his chronological path went. Speaking of bowl games, we're at a point now with regard to bowl games. You better, from a financial standpoint, you better check and double check. It's going to be hard. It would be hard for me to plop down a bunch of bowl game money and then have my favorite team have a bunch of players that don't show up and play. And I know it's hard to moderate that, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, it would be real hard. And I think in the future, in the near future, bowl games are going to start suffering financially. It would be really hard for me to plop down a couple of expensive airline tickets and a couple 2-3 night hotel stay and food and car rental and memorabilia and just all the money it takes to travel. It would be really hard to do that and have 6, 7, 8 of my favorite teams impact players not playing. I mean, that's the equivalent of going to Broadway and buying a ticket to go see, I don't know, Phantom of the Opera at full price. And as you're paying for that ticket and as you've bought that ticket, they make an announcement, hey, Michael Crawford's not in tonight. It's going to be his stand-in. I think bowl games are going to change. I don't think bowl games can keep going the way they're going and survive. Not that they make much money now, but with NIL and opt-out before, I don't think you're going to put the toothpaste back in the tube. But boy, bowl games, if you're a fan, I would watch I would really, it's going to be a tough decision to spend all that money and go see your second stringers play a lot of situations. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, okay, but boy, that's a lot of money. Speaking of players opting out, transferring out, Bo Nix, Auburn quarterback Bo Nix has announced he has put his name in the transfer portal, and I believe Tank Bigsby, the running back, as well. I'm all for the transfer portal. I understand. I'm pretty much supportive of players in most situations, NIL and transfer portal, things like this. The issue is how to implement these things fairly and not screw up the game by helping out the student athletes. There's not always a great answer. The other thing about the portal is I hope we can get to a point where there's some central areas, central information portals, if you will, pun intended, that you can go to. Right now, it's just like who's where, who's leaving, who's coming back, who's going to what school, and sometimes it's just happenstance that you can find all this out. I would like a little more uniformed portal, if you will, for people getting in the portal and people where they're going. It might be out there, and if it is, you can tell me, but there's so much movement now. I would sure like a centralized location that I could go to and just kind of see who's where, who's not going to be where, who's leaving, and who's coming. And yeah, the portal, remember this, fans, the transfer portal, it will giveth and it will taketh away. It's going to be, some years you're going to go, sweet, there's that $20 in my pants pocket. Other years you're going to go, man, this thing has crushed our program. It's just going to be that way. Okay, I wanted to get to bowl games. Intriguing bowl games to me, and you can come along and put your comments of yours as well. The bowl games are all set now. Now, these are my intriguing bowl games besides the college football playoff 2 games, semifinals we know, and then we don't know the matchup of the finals. Number 1, UCF and Florida. Angles that intrigue me. Does Florida want to? Florida has a lot of players that are not going to go. A lot of guys have put their name in the portal. A lot of guys are going to opt out. Zach Carter's just opting out for the NFL, and Diabate and a couple of guys have already thrown their name in the portal. Will Florida have any want to at the Gasparilla Bowl? UCF, I think, will. I think UCF will have a lot of want to. So that's an intriguing game. Oregon versus Oklahoma intrigues me in the Alamo Bowl. Now, storyline number 1, both coaching staffs gone, right? Both head guys gone. They've switched out, Oregon and Oklahoma. That intrigues me. Another game that intrigues me, just because I like when they play, and there's little brother, big brother, and little brother really would like a win here, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, North Carolina, South Carolina. How many North Carolina players will opt out? Will Sam Howell opt out? South Carolina, pretty good year 1 under Beamer, and of course, they've got a little brother syndrome, maybe not conference-wise, SEC, South Carolina, ACC, North Carolina, but North Carolina is the big dog in that area. North Carolina is the big, strong university, great basketball. We know that. That will intrigue me if everybody plays. The Outback Bowl, I think it's really, really big for Arkansas. Arkansas will take on Penn State. Arkansas's had a good year. Arkansas played a tough schedule. Treylon Burks, the good receiver, has announced he won't play in the game for Arkansas. But I think this game, a win would benefit Arkansas much more than Penn State. That would be a really nice capper for Arkansas to put that feather in their hat to wrap up this year, Sam Pittman year 2, if Arkansas can win the Outback Bowl and beat Penn State. The oh-so-close bowl is pretty intriguing, if you ask me. That's the Fiesta Bowl. Oh, so close, Oklahoma State. Oh, how did the running back for Oak State not square up his shoulders and bully his way into the end zone on the final offensive play? Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame was oh so close. If Cincinnati had lost, Notre Dame would have gotten in, but that didn't happen. So the Fiesta Bowl intrigues me. The oh-so-close bowl, Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame. The Rose Bowl really intrigues me because I think you're going to see the best fan base outside of the championship games, the 2 semifinals and the championship game. Move those games aside. You will see the best fan base representation in the Rose Bowl, not by Ohio State fan, by Utah fan. Word is that entire state is going to the Rose Bowl. Utah, relatively new member of the Pac-12. They've never won the Pac-12 until this year. They've never gone to the Rose Bowl. Utah's damn good. They've got a really solid program. They've been solid since Meyer got them on the map, handed it over to Whittingham. Whittingham's been there 17 years, I think. Utah is a good program, and they are going to be jacked out of their mind to take on big bad Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. I'm telling you, the entire state of Utah that isn't BYU fans, they will find their way to Pasadena. That's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see that game, Utah, Ohio State. And finally, offense versus defense. If everybody pretty much shows up, and I don't know if Matt Corral, Reagan, I don't know if you've heard, is Matt Corral playing? I haven't heard he's not playing yet, and we've got some time. If everybody plays in the Sugar Bowl, that should be a fun game. You talk about offense, Ole Miss. You talk about defense, Baylor. I think those two could lock horns in a great struggle if they all show up. Baylor can really, really play defense. Ole Miss, as fun an offense as you will find. Now, Jeff Lebby, is he coaching? Is he going? Where is he going? That remains to be seen. But that's several of the bowl games, non-CF college football playoff bowl games, that kind of intrigue me. Now, asterisk, do the star players play? Do the players want to play? Do they go through the motions? That's what we're fighting now with bowl games and bowl season. I'm not so sure bowl season doesn't have to have a little bit of an adjustment. What is the adjustment? Some people have said play the bowl games early. Have the Orange Bowl sponsor their game at the beginning of the year. All these made-for-TV games. By the way, speaking of beginning of the season, and we talked about Notre Dame. Notre Dame, while there's only a 4-game playoff, until that gets expanded, Notre Dame's always behind the 8 ball. They do not play in a conference in football, meaning they do not have a conference championship Saturday game to show off, right? While everybody else was playing, Notre Dame didn't have a conference championship game. And while it stays at 4, it's hard to have 2 losses and get in. Notre Dame opens up at Ohio State next year. That's right. Notre Dame opens up at Ohio State. Notre Dame, quarterback issues all year. They've worked around it. Jack Cohn's in and out. So Notre Dame really doesn't have a solid quarterback. Ohio State, did you see the guy on the stage? C.J. Stroud? He has to come back. He can't go to the NFL yet. He has to come back. Notre Dame, if anybody's going to bark loud and really help this thing get expanded, it might be big bad Notre Dame, the Irish. Because think about it. If they lose right out of the gate, they've got that 1 loss. They've got to run the table, right? They can't lose again probably if there's only 4 teams getting in next year again. If Notre Dame loses in Columbus, they've got to rattle off 11 straight. Next year, they play a much tougher schedule. This year, their schedule hurt them. They do play North Carolina. They do play Clemson. They do play a really good BYU program. Now, that's good that they play them because you get wins over those guys, and USC may be good with Lincoln Riley. You get wins over those guys, that helps your cause. But if you lose to Ohio State, Or are you going to run the rest of the table and not get that second loss? Notre Dame, they really need this thing to expand because, again, Notre Dame in football, they're not a member of the ACC. They can't win the ACC, and they can't go to the championship of the ACC to get one more big win while everybody's playing. Notre Dame, Ohio State, opener next year in Columbus. Ay, ay, ay. Final break of the day. Let's take a quick break, come back, recap things we've covered, things we'll do coming up on Friday. Thank you so much for your time. It is a Monday edition of College Sports Day. Back after this quick timeout.
Lawyers nowadays try to attract new clients by putting big numbers in front of them. I can do that too, but the only number that really matters to me is the one I get for you. I can't guarantee you any particular result because all cases are different. However, I can absolutely guarantee you that if I take your case, I will work personally with you to seek the best possible result because that's what really matters to you. At Allen Law Firm, clients and results are what we're all about. Call me anytime.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good
All the
vibes.
good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of college sports today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida. And of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The official seafood restaurants of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell can be found up and down the northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The proud seafood sponsors of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development. Go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again, shoot me, Terry Norvell, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Wrapping up here on a Monday, Terry Norvell coming to you from the Future Home Loan Studios. Over 2,000 five-star reviews. They know what they're doing. Home mortgage, refinance, anywhere in the southern states. They are expanding like crazy. Contact Future Home Loans. If you need their services, they're the best in the business. Check them out online, Future Home Loans. That's where you go. Also want to thank our title sponsor. They've been with us all season. Great folks over at the Allen Law Firm, offices in Gainesville and Ocala. Hey, you've got a situation, somebody you know, somebody close to you, a relative, maybe has unfortunately been in an accident, had a situation, an injury. You're not really sure what to do. Do you have something? Is there something you need to do? You just need some advice. Well, that's what a free consultation is for. No need to be intimidated. The good folks at the Allen Law Firm are ready to talk to you. The easiest way to get a hold of the experts and just explain your situation. They'll listen and they'll give you their expert feedback. Pick up your phone and dial pound pound YES. That rings right into the Allen Law Firm, or check them out. There's a online consultation as well. They've got a great website that explains a lot of things. Remember the spelling, ALLEN, allenlaw.com, ALLEN. They've got a consultation right there on site as well, on the website. But take advantage of it. That's what they're for. People understand inside the Allen Law Firm, it can be intimidating. There's no need to worry about the intimidation factor. They're here to help. They're here to listen. Contact them. Pound YES. Pound YES gets you through to our good friends over at the Allen Law Firm. Wrapping it up here on a Monday, Coach Spurrier will be right here on Friday. We'll get with Shane Matthews as well, and we will rattle off our 21 bowl picks as our Safe Harbor Seafood picks of the week. We're winding down. Shane Matthews is in the lead with 90 correct so far this season. I have 89, and I'm right on Shane's heels after 14 weeks. Shane has 90 correct. I have 89. Coach Spurrier, 86. We're picking 21 bowl games, and let me tell you something. Bowl games are hard to pick because you don't really know who's playing. You get some news here and you get some news there and want to. How many guys play but dog it? And it happens. A lot of guys that play, they dog it for whatever reason. So bowl games, a long way to go. We'll pick about 21 of those on Friday. Real quick, SEC basketball off to an interesting start. There's some good teams. The SEC is really top-heavy. Kentucky's really good. Alabama's really good. It looks like Arkansas is going to be a real player. Auburn's got a lot of talent. Florida, I don't know what Florida is. I'm not in love with Florida's roster. Kentucky yesterday lost a heartbreaker. Notre Dame beat Kentucky in a really good game, but the Cats are going to be good. They've got their talent as usual. Alabama, kind of a controversial win. Alabama, a big win over Houston, highly ranked Houston team. Alabama has a win over Houston already and Gonzaga. Alabama beat Gonzaga earlier in the year. Bama's loaded again. Good guard play, real athletic. Nate Oates has got that Bama basketball program really fun and juiced up. The fans are behind them now. They got a good home crowd. Arkansas is full of athletes. They lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma now has beaten Arkansas and Florida in the last week. And Auburn. Auburn only has one loss. They've lost a close overtime game in one of those preseason tournament kind of games to a good UConn team. Florida basketball. Gators lose yesterday to Maryland. I think it's going to be an up and down grind of a year. Florida, I don't love the roster. I don't think he's got Mike White put together a very offensive roster. They're going to consistently have trouble scoring. They just don't have guys that are smooth offensive players. It's going to be a grind. The best, most smooth offensive player is Colin Castleton. Now, a lot of pressure. He got 2 fouls yesterday and sat about 10 minutes of the first half, and Florida was lost on offense. The Gators are really struggling. Myron Jones, the transfer from Penn State, he came in as a sharpshooter. He cannot drop it in the ocean from a boat right now. If he doesn't shoot better, it's going to be a long year. The Gators are going to really struggle scoring points. They've got a real blue-collar, clunky kind of team, if you know what I mean, and really not a smooth offensive team at all. But Florida, they've got a couple of nice wins already. FSU, the Seminoles, Florida has already beaten the Seminoles. The Seminoles are kind of finding themselves a little bit early in the year. I think Florida State will be good and a tournament-type team. But Florida State's lost several games. Florida got a win over Florida State earlier. And, of course, Florida beat a really good Ohio State team on a buzzer beater by Appleby. Couple good wins, but I think Florida, the ugly loss to Texas Southern, inexplicable loss to Texas Southern. I think Florida's going to have that kind of year. The Gators are going to have real trouble. They're going to D you up. They're going to play great defense. They play hard, but they're not a real polished offensive team. They're going to have a lot of trouble scoring points, I think, as the basketball season starts. Hard to believe that conference play has started in a lot of conferences, and, right when we hit the top of the calendar hits January, conference play takes off in college basketball. So there you have it. That'll wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed a Monday edition. Coach Spurrier traveling, couldn't be in. He's caught in the airport. Hope he and his wife have made it back by now. But Coach will be here on Friday in his Spurrier's Gridiron Grill restaurant inside the Future Home Loan studio. We'll catch up with Shane Matthews. We'll go over a bunch of bowl games, make our picks. We hope you come along on Friday. For Reagan Knight producing, I'm Terry Norvell. Have a great Monday, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.